All right, everyone, the time has finally come. It's been too long waiting. I gotta tell you guys, I stayed up all night last night just to catch a glimpse of what this Nintendo NX was, and let me tell you, I was sleeping all day afterwards. I was part of the hype. It was amazing to finally see just that 3 minutes of video. I gotta admit that was a little disappointing to find out that it was gonna only be about three minutes long, given that there's been so many questions about this thing. And we have less than about 4 months just for the console to be released, and the general public doesn't even know about it. What is this thing? So, finally, it's been officially announced. The Nintendo NX is now the NintendoSwitch. Oh yeah. What does that mean? Not a clue. Well, okay, so we kind of get the idea, like maybe what it means. Now, a lot of people have expressed interest, like they're not big fans of the name, and I can sort of relate on that remark that the Nintendo Switch was an interesting name, but probably not one that I would have gone with. Also, the logo for the Nintendo Switch is not very popular either. Some people love it, some people don't like it. We're at that point now where everybody's trying to decide whether or not this is a good thing or a bad thing as a whole. Whether or not people just are gonna be totally against the system now, or whether everybody's gonna rejoice and say, we never doubted you, Nintendo, we knew that you'd pull through and give us everything that we needed, the console that we deserved, and yeah. When it came to the Nintendo NX, as we knew, as far as how Nintendo would succeed, one thing we needed to know for sure is that they needed third-party support. They needed those other developers to get on board and be able to program for this thing, because that's kind of been the problem with Nintendo, is that they create these elaborate consoles for whatever reason and make it absolutely hell for the developers for third-party games like Capcom, Squaresoft, other guys to develop for. They don't want to develop for it. They're just like, screw it. I don't want to freaking Xbox One, PS4, like, why do we want to go to a step down? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, that's definitely one thing that we needed to know for sure, and it has been confirmed. There has been a list, pictures of all of the developers that they are going to be, that are going to be hopping on board for the NX, or no, not the NX anymore, Nintendo Switch. Got to remember to call it that. we've been so consumed by calling it the NX that we're just going to have to adapt to calling it something else now. Like, remember when the Wii was the revolution? No, nobody? It's alright. About the design. It's slender, it's sleek, I like it. Not terribly sure how it works. So, one thing I question, so is the whole console just the screen, and in order to get it on the television screen, there's like this peripheral that you sit down in front of the television screen, and you slide the tablet of the Switch, you put it in this little peripheral, and all of a sudden it clicks, and you're looking at the game on the television screen. Now, if you saw the video, the 3-minute video, it shows the people that are holding the tablet doing this, but you don't see any wires. So I'm wondering if this is a wired thing, or if the wires are just hidden just to make the video look better. So is this going to be HDMI supported? Exactly how is this going to work? Is it, or does I really don't know. I'd like to know more. But that was kind of the dilemma and what people were worried about. Like, is a 3-minute video going to tell us everything that we need to know about this system? Because I got to be honest, when I first heard that it was going to be announced this week about what this exactly was, and you got that picture of Mario hiding behind like a curtain, like, oh, get ready, it's going to be awesome. I was kind of expecting a Nintendo Direct to come out and explain it. Those hour-long, presentations that Nintendo always does. I mean, are we in the wrong for suspecting that? Having the new president of Nintendo, if not Shigeru Miyamoto, coming out on stage in front of his green screen and talking about, okay, here's the Nintendo NX, it's now the Nintendo Switch, here's what it is, here's what it does, here's how to use it, and here are some of the launch titles that are going to be coming out for it, so you better go and pre-order it, because it's coming. Not too long from now, less than half a year away. Okay, so now we finally got a glimpse. Another thing that I find interesting about the console is the controllers. In fact, one a joke that's kind of been going around is I foresee a lot of controller pieces being lost because, as you've probably seen in the video, or in case you haven't, I'll definitely have a link to the actual video there. But outside of just the little tablet, it's got to have these little joystick pads attached to the screen. You can detach them, and apparently they can function as multiplayer options. So in a sense, I guess you could say that we're getting two controllers in the console again, like we did in the old days. Either that, or it might be safe to assume that your virtual console remotes probably might still work for the NX, the Switch, just like it did for the Wii U, and probably the Wii. Because when it comes to Nintendo's controllers, more or less, they tend to stick to what they know. They don't tend to go way too out of the box. I guess you could say the same thing for Sony. But here and there. Alright. So, a lot to say. A lot of good news. Can't think too much negatively right now, other than it took really too long for Nintendo to come out and finally show us what the hell this thing is. Because, of course, hardcore gamers and gamers in general know that it exists. They know it's coming. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it does, how much it's going to cost. We just know that it's out there, Nintendo's got something, and it's coming. The bigger problem was the general public doesn't know this. They're not looking this up. They don't even know the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo NX existed. And frankly, they probably still don't. And Nintendo's got about 4 months to let the world know that they've got a new console coming out, and they've only got 4 months to save up for it. That is almost a guaranteed way to make sure that your console bombs on opening day, or for the first few months that it comes out. It could pick up later in the year, or maybe even the next year, but this is that's a console killer right there. I mean, it's really unheard of to release a console this late in the game without having had the public know prior to its release, like at least a year in advance. I mean, shoot, it kind of reminds you of the problem with the Wii U. And what was the biggest problem with that when that thing launched? We didn't know what it was. All we saw was just the big controller for it, which people weren't even sure what that was. I wasn't sure what it was. I thought it was an add-on for the Wii. Like, is it just a tablet for the Wii? That's what we all thought it was. So yeah, you really got to blame Nintendo for their poor marketing on that part, and it almost feels like it's kind of the same thing here, unless there's a reason for this. But people have speculated that they did hold off on showing off their hardware because they're afraid of Sony and Microsoft copying their shtick, like they did with the Wiimotes, where it was, you know, like the PlayStation Move and the Kinect. Excuse me. Along with the presentation of the Nintendo Switch, we also got to see some of the games that it's going to be or potentially showing off. I've heard people claiming that the games that we saw aren't technically going to be on the NX or Switch, but you know what? Just the fact that they are showing that the console can step up and run the stuff shows that, okay, Nintendo has taken this seriously and they're getting back in the game. Because I know that Nintendo loves to do their own thing and not really be confrontational with all the other competitors, because they just like to go and do their own thing and have fun, and you know, and that's respectable. But at the same time, you are kind of leaving the hardcore gamers that grew up with you behind, and leaving us to have to move on to find the hardcore games elsewhere. I mean, we do love our Marios and we do love our Zeldas and Metroids, but the games come few and far in between, and we do have to fear now that they could potentially not be good. Not many people liked Metroid Other M. In fact, I think a lot of people didn't like Metroid Other M. Donkey Kong Country Returns. It took how many years to get another Donkey Kong Country, and it came out, and I think it was generally well received. Zelda games, few and far in between. Great as they are, they don't come out as often as you'd like to. The Mario titles kind of get pumped out there more than we'd like them to, but they're usually rehashes of the same game, like New Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario 3D Land or 3D World. But if you want a Mario game to succeed, what I think you got to do is make a game that's along the lines of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, or Super Mario Galaxy. Those big heavy hitter titles that Mario usually gets involved in. I would personally like a Sunshine too, but that's just me. hard as that game was, I still enjoy it. Every time I play the game, it makes me want to go swimming or get a huge glass of water. It's awesome. Along with the release of the footage for the Nintendo NX, which came out to be the NintendoSwitch, apparently earlier in the day, the same day actually, over in Japan, they released a trailer, a new trailer, for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It doesn't really show you anything that we didn't already see, but a lot of people have been claiming that it is footage of the game that is going to be portrayed on the Nintendo Switch. To be honest, I love the idea of Breath of the Wild. I cannot wait to play this. I am so stoked to play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I bought another Master Sword just because I was so hyped up for more Zelda Breath of the Wild stuff. I've been doing nothing but looking at trailers, watching videos, listening to the soundtrack that the game's provided with just its musical cues, that even though I've already got other Master Swords, I had to go and buy another one just because I am that big a fan. I cannot wait. I need my Zelda fix. So, yeah, Breath of the Wild, NX. It doesn't look that much better. Nintendo said it wouldn't, but people have been saying that, oh, wow, now that I've seen the NX version of Zelda Breath of the Wild, it's definitely got me hooked now. Again, always coming back to, graphics never made games better for me. Or anybody. Graphics don't dictate what makes a game good. It makes it look better and look pretty, but what if the game sucks? Not that Zelda's gonna suck, it's gonna be awesome. I'm rambling, I know. So much to say, but I don't want to go on too long. So, yeah, we finally know what the Nintendo Switch is. Some questions come to mind. We do know that there's a lot of third-party support going on there, but I do kind of fear whether or not they're going to back out later in the game. I think that's been heard of before where... Yeah, actually, didn't that happen with the 3DS when it first launched? Like, there were a lot of planned developers coming out to make games for it. But they pulled out at the last minute because maybe it wasn't selling well at the time. Like, of course, we all remember the biggest one of all, Mega Man Legends 3 by Capcom was going to be a big deal, and then they pulled out and pissed off the world, essentially. I mean, that was the sole reason I bought the friggin' console in the first place. Of course, Kingdom Hearts came out and fixed that later, and a few Zelda titles here and there, but come on, man, that was a big blow. So I'm hoping that it's not the same thing here where we have third-party developers coming in and saying, yeah, they're going to support the NX with all their great titles, and then all of a sudden they pull a switch and just be like, no, we're just going to stick to the PS4 and the Xbox One and the PC. It doesn't look that way right now because we've seen what it can do. Like, we saw Skyrim on it. We saw, I guess some people were saying they saw The Witcher 3, or A Witcher. We saw an NBA Jam. NBA Jam? Or, wasn't it? No. Yes, no, I'm not a sports gamer. Go outside and play real sports. And it looks like we saw a glimpse of a new Mario Brothers game. It doesn't look familiar to me. It looks like something new. Some people were saying that, oh, it's just Super Mario 3D World just on the Wii U as a port. I can't confirm or deny that myself. The levels didn't look familiar to me. It looks like it could be something new. And if it is, great. I mean, it doesn't look like it's side-scrolling. That's a plus. Let's give me something new. New but the same. That's the name of the game. Oh, another cool thing is we got to see some images of... I don't know if these were fan-made, but if they are, mission accomplished. You fooled me. There's been pictures of the Nintendo Switch with skins on it where it can look like the original Nintendo Entertainment System. I think that'd be the one for me. As much as I like sleek and black, I think that's what a lot of the consoles are kind of doing right now. And getting something a little different and more beige would probably be cool. Well, shoot. It was an exciting morning to finally see what this thing was. It was exciting to finally see that Nintendo is stepping their game up and finally putting out competitive hardware that can compete with the consoles of today, from the Xbox One to the PlayStation 4 to the PC. Of course, Nintendo's still doing their own thing with their tablet, trying to reach out to today's market because, you know, kids, they love their tablets and they like to take them wherever they can go and play everything on the go. One thing I really want to know, and this has been killing me. Will the Nintendo Switch be capable of playing Nintendo 3DS games? If that turns out to be true, oh my god, how awesome is that going to be? First of all, that is going to save me so much money because I will no longer have to go out and try to buy a 3DS capture card. And I feel so bad for the people that had to do it. because those things are expensive. 3DS capture cards can range up to over $400 from what we've seen. We've tried to buy one. We've tried to look at them. It's just, my gosh, there's so much that goes into those things. It's crazy. So if you're one of those rich YouTubers that was able to pull it off, good for you. And, well, I guess we'll see if the Switch can play it for us. Hey, you guys are finally gonna get that Project Cross Zone playthrough that you've been asking for so much. But other than that, well, I can't really say too much else on the subject right now. All we know are the aesthetics of the console. We've seen some of the stuff that it's going to push out. We saw the third-party developers that are going to be a part of it. We saw a trailer for the new Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with minor updated graphics to perform on the NX Switch. And that's pretty much it. The other stuff is just kind of things that I want to know about. Like, is it going to come with multiple controllers? How's the controller situation working anyway? Like, there's one thing that I don't particularly care for, the little add-on side controllers that click onto the side of the tablet. You can apparently take those off, click them onto each other, and have this really tiny remote that's stuck together. I don't know, that probably wouldn't feel good for me, so I'm wondering, am I going to have to go out and buy another virtual console remote just to play it like a regular controller? We'll see when that happens, but on the bright side, if it does come with that automatically, that will eliminate the option for us to have to go out and waste more money buying another controller, so, hey, just like in the old days, consoles came with multiple controllers. Alright, so, I want you guys to now do me a favor. Go into the comments. Tell me what you think. Do you think the showing of the Nintendo Switch was a huge success? Do you like the logo? Do you like the name? What third-party developers are you looking forward to? I know there were a lot of interesting ones that you saw on there. What games would you like to see? Seeing Rise of the Tomb Raider would have been nice. I know that it's a little late for that, but you never know. Would you like to see Kingdom Hearts 3 go on the NX? Can you imagine the exclusives? So many options. Like, Nintendo's finally stepped up. Now, let's see if they can keep the momentum. The trending has been going on all day, so much so that it's even gotten more hype than the presidential debates. As much as a circus as that is. But that's a different video and a different topic that I probably am not going to cover, because this is not a political channel. Unless we're talking video game politics. Because that can get just as heated. And probably deadly. Alright, so, you've been watching the Brotherhood of Gaming.com. I'm your host, William Morris. And let's see what Nintendo has to offer in the future.